I do really believe 100% from every part of me that everyone has the capacity to be able to do the things that they want and not to be held back by the mental baggage that's in our head that we want to push through.
Welcome to the Do the Thing podcast. In each episode, we get down and personal with people who go after the things they want to make all their wildest dreams come true. Join us as we unveil and dissect a formula for what it takes to do the thing. Here is your host, Stacey Lauren.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Do the Thing podcast. This is your host, Stacey Lauren. There's something truly magical about connecting with someone who has an innate curiosity about the world around them. Today's guest is a successful food blogger and writer with more than 17 years of online experience under her belt. She's dedicated herself to mindful living and food-based wellness. Her well-known website receives 8 million views and reaches over 500,000 unique visitors every month. Even more impressive, she built it all before social media was even a thought. She currently has 2 best-selling books, with her 3rd book in the pipeline. She's also a regular contributor to the popular television shows The List and Daytime. It's my pleasure to welcome the always curious founder of Steamy Kitchen, Jaden Rae. Hey, Jaden, welcome to the show.
Oh my gosh. Hi, how are you, Stacey?
I am good. I am so glad that you were agreeable to come on.
Oh my goodness. Super excited to share with you and your listeners any type of advice that I have.
Yeah, that's great because I hear that you are a huge person that is doing the thing. So I'm excited.
Oh, good.
Excited to get you to share your wisdom. How about we start off with you talking about your background and your story?
Oh, sure. I have been food blogging for 17 years, and that's a very, very long time to be one in, a singular space, but also being in the online space. Like I started food blogging before Instagram was even born, before Pinterest was even born. So it's been a very, very long time. And in that time, I've been able to see sort of like how things have evolved and how old things can come back again as new. So it's been great to be so long in this industry and to stay with it. So there's a lot of grit involved. And then also to just be a witness to all the beautiful things that have been blossoming in the online space.
Yeah, so that's amazing. So 17 years food blogging before even the social networks were out there.
Right. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. What actually got you into that in the first place?
I was teaching cooking classes. What happened was I had just moved from San Francisco and I had given birth. My body was like raging with so many hormones and, being so super emotional. Well, we had just moved from San Francisco, which is like culinary Mecca, right? You can find any type of food in San Francisco, and then all the way down to a little tiny town in Florida. And I was at a restaurant called Bangkok, Tokyo, and I was picking up my to-go order. And at the corner of my eye, I saw this woman at the sushi bar, and she had the most beautiful outfit on, and she was on her cell phone, and she said to her friend, like, "Hey, I'm having sushi at the Chinese restaurant. Why don't you come join us?" And all of a sudden my head just like snapped. I'm like, what? Wait, Bangkok, Tokyo is not in China, number one. And why is someone having sushi in a restaurant called Bangkok, Tokyo? Like that doesn't even make sense, right? Like in San Francisco, you would never have a restaurant named Bangkok, Tokyo. It would either be, Thai food or, it was just weird to have so much mishmashing in one restaurant. And so, right then and there, I decided, well, at first I got upset, and then I decided, you know what, I'm going to do something about this. And so I called a local cooking school. And I said, can I teach you guys how the difference between Chinese food and Japanese food? And that's how it all started. And I started documenting everything online. That's how Steamy Kitchen was born.
Wow. Okay. So it started off with you almost wanting to educate people on the differences, and then it sort of grew from there.
Yeah, it was part of it was absolutely education, but also the other part was like, I think I found my calling. Like I'm meant to do this. All my life experiences that have happened, whether good or bad, and whether it's my life or anyone else's life, is sort of like a little dot along the path, right? And things that happen for a purpose. And sometimes you don't know what the purpose is until way in the future. You're like, aha, that's why X, Y, and Z has happened. So I felt like, this was just a very natural progression of everything that I've ever experienced and done. And I just started, writing about food. And since then, I do a ton of television. I do live television for mostly morning shows or, just, lifestyle shows. And we tape live from my kitchen. And then I also, I've written a couple of cookbooks, and my next book is around microdosing psychedelics, which is a whole nother field, another brand new field for me. But like I said before, like things have happened in my life where, oh my gosh, now I know why these things have happened, because here I am with a great opportunity to give back to the community.
Yeah, I love that. I love that we're going in this direction, because having this podcast, called Do the Thing, I think it could be easy to get construed that I'm always trying to convey to people to do the thing, regardless of what the thing is.
Right.
But something I've noticed in the episodes I've been doing, we've had some different people come on, like even experts. I had a holistic psychologist come on, and brain expert, and a somatic therapist. And what's really come out during that is I want people to be able to do the thing, but do it out of alignment for what's true to them, And so I love that you're bringing that up, because I think it's important to be able to tap into that more and follow that guide, And I was just wondering, what was that feeling like for you? Like, how do you know that? Like, what was that distinction? How did you know that you were on that right path for what you wanted to do?
Well, I'll tell you this, a lot of people make it very important to understand what their life purpose is. Like, it's just such a big, heavy question. And I think, especially Western society, we place so much emphasis on your life purpose. And that means like, oh my gosh, there's a singular life purpose that I'm supposed to be chasing or discovering. And it's such a heavy question with one big heavy right answer, quote unquote right answer. And instead of trying to discover what that my life purpose is, I rather ask myself, how can I live purposefully every single day versus a singular life purpose? So every day, how can I have purpose in what I'm doing? How can I live with intention? I have two life mottos. One is, how can I create a magical moment right now for anybody, whether it's my loved one or a stranger or sometimes even myself, but it's more outwardly looking. So every morning, my purpose is to create magical moments for people. So that's one life purpose. And the other life purpose is more internal for me. And this is something I have tattooed on my arm, and it's simple pleasures, deeply felt. That is the purpose of my life. And not one big answer. It's constantly asking myself these two questions. How can I create a magical moment? And how can I enjoy simple pleasures, deeply felt? And to me, that is so much more important than having a singular life purpose.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. And it's amazing when you can ask yourself that question, because you get the answers. You're getting me to think about, I had this, it was like a 3-month period where a really good friend of mine, we would start off every day just saying, how can we create our dream day today?
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. There was, I think the website is called Psychology Today. There was a quote that I'm going to look for right now. Here it is. I'm going to read you this quote, because I think this is something that will really resonate with you and your readers. And like I mentioned, like Western society, we place so much emphasis on finding a singular life purpose. But here's the quote from Psychology Today. One thing is clear: the consequences of not finding your purpose includes chronic lingering dissatisfaction, an absence of inner peace, and a sense of not being fully in sync with your inner self. Now, that's a quote from Psychology Today. And that is so freaking heavy. And it's kind of like, you mean if I don't find my singular life purpose, then I won't have inner peace and I can't be happy? So I want people to understand, finding your thing in life doesn't mean that it's one thing and it's not a singular answer. It's more of, how can being purposeful in every day and living it with intention. I think you will, in that moment, you find your thing.
So I'm thinking about what you said earlier about how you went from teaching cooking classes to then, educating people at the cooking school, and then to you writing cookbooks, and then now the microdosing psychedelic books. And I'm just wondering, it's kind of cool, like when we're talking about this purpose driven stuff, because It's been all different layers of things. So,
oh my gosh, yeah, it's been so many things. And I think that's what's great about it. I consider my time like playtime, in creating magical moments for myself. I'm always seeking novelty. So I'm always seeking like I'm so curious about things, and I approach everything and every day with so much curiosity. And when you are driven by curiosity, it leads you down so many wonderful paths. And if you don't like it, jump on another path. And I always tell people, pick the good waves, just like surfers do. Like they will wait and wait and wait until they find a great wave to catch. And if they don't like that wave, or if that wave dies, they jump on another wave. And that's how I view my life.
Oh, that is good. Really
so
good.
Pick the good waves and jump off if it's not the right wave.
Yeah, I love that. So how do you dissect what the good waves are?
I don't know. And it sometimes, when you feel it and it's good energy and you're like, and you get some flow going, it's kind of like that. It's really difficult to explain because my definition of flow is very different than other people's. When I think of flow, I think of like energy, adding energy to my life, and that I can contribute back as well. It's not energy sucking. There's some activities where it's completely energy sucking for me, like driving a car is energy sucking because I am not good at it. But for someone else who loves adventure and who loves, going on road trips, that is energy giving. So for every person, it's a little bit different. For me specifically, it satisfies my curiosity. I get to, learn something new that I've never learned before, but more importantly, that I'm making connections. I'm always looking for connections, like this new thing that I'm learning. How can I connect it back to something that I've already mastered? And then maybe, jamming the two together, I create this beautiful music that is so brand new. And now I'm not just learning about something, but I'm also an agent in the creation of.
Yeah. The other thing I'm curious about is I mentioned that I was doing that dream day question with my friend, and we had like probably the best 3 months of our lives every day when we were doing that. The thing that you're doing with creating a magical moment right now, you're not just thinking of you, you're thinking about others. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about that. Where did that even come from, that idea?
I honestly can't tell you. I think sometimes, when you keep a notebook and you start journaling things that work and make you happy, and then you keep doing those things, and things that don't serve me, I stop doing those things. So, I always am asking myself, what can I start doing? What should I stop doing? And then what can I keep doing? Mm-hmm. And that, in my journaling practice, that really helps, because then all the energy giving and good feeling type of things that I'm doing can keep bubbling up in my day.
So I'm uncovering the formula for how you do the thing. So let's see where we are right now.
All right.
Okay. So curiosity, that's actually a parallel that has come up before. And it seems like I think I'm adding something to you, because I've had curiosity before, but it's for things, right? Curiosity for, I talked to somebody, she was talking about cryptocurrency and having curiosity for that and what that opens up. So it sounds like you have that, but also curiosity for yourself too. And like adding that self-reflective piece, I think is one of the pieces of your formula. Would you agree?
You know what? I'm going to borrow something from a podcast that I was recently a guest on. Her name is Genesis. And she asked a question that was just so interesting to me. She asked, what sparks you, what ignites you, and what fuels you? And I'm going to tell you, we've talked about all of these things in the past few minutes, but I'm going to just revisit it and sort of categorize things. And I'm always big on metaphors, because when you use a really good metaphor, you can visualize it. You can use more of your senses, more than just, hearing me speak. So I'm going to answer that question. What sparks me, meaning like what I use, that's my curiosity section. I'm seeking novelty is really what I'm doing. It's not just about being curious about something, but I want to seek novelty. I want to be curious about something new, something that I've never immersed myself in before. So I'm always looking for something new to be curious about. So that's seek novelty. That's what sparks me. That's what sparks my imagination. That's what sparks my happiness. Anytime I get bored, I'm going to go to look for seeking novelty in something. So, that's such an important thing. The next one is what ignites me. that's creating magical moments for other people. That's what ignites. That's what just, starts the engine. That's what, gets me going every single day. And then what fuels me, which is sustainable, is simple pleasures deeply felt. And that's more internally looking and making sure that, the wonderful things that happen, that I just take the moment to fully appreciate it and fully appreciate just the little things, because it gets overlooked so often.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, those are great questions. I love that. And then it sounds like you also, because you have a journaling practice, has that been helping you? And when you do the thing, is that helping you kind of find your voice or your knowing?
I think for me, journaling is more of not forgetting for me. The thing that has really, really helped me is microdosing psychedelics, which is why I'm writing a book on it. And now about 80% of my energy is focused on learning about psychedelics and how it enhances your focus and creativity. The moment that I've been microdosing for about a year now, and I do so many different extractions and experimentations and just studying about how microdosing, especially psilocybin, which is some mushrooms, helps people be happy. And, recent Johns Hopkins study found that psychedelics are 4 times more effective than SSRIs. And, that's incredible. So, almost every day I the microdose on mushrooms, and that has been the most massive game changer in my life. It gives me focus and groundedness. It's kind of like if you were a tree, you're growing deep, deep roots that really help you stay grounded. And, don't get me wrong, bad things still happen, shitty things still happen in my life. But I've just noticed that with microdosing, I can flip it so quickly. I can turn it around so quickly and create good meaning out of it. And I really think that's the secret to life. Is it's not about just being happy or, being more grateful. It's about taking the situations that happen, adversity that happens, and turning into a growing moment where you actually learn from it and then find the goodness in it.
So would you say then, I feel like then the fact that you've been doing this for a year and now you're getting the opportunity to educate others in a way that maybe they haven't heard before, so then they're more open to it, that's kind of your new, that's where you're doing the thing right now?
Absolutely. Yeah, there is just so much transformation that happens when you do deep work. And I also think that, especially with magic mushrooms, it sort of creates connections in your brain and your body that you've never known before. So creating new connections and opening up new ideas and just allowing yourself just to be more open to accept new ideas. Like, everyone always says you don't know what you don't know, right? And so, with microdosing, it's given me the freedom to feel, not indulge in, I guess here's the best way to put it. Microdosing mushrooms has given me the power to not indulge in fear or not indulge in rumination, lamenting about the past. And instead, I walk a very wide path in the present lane. The past, ruminating in the past, once in a while, I'll still ruminate about the past because you can't help it. But generally, I can really, really walk in this very beautiful wide lane of the present lane and not worry too much about the future, which is expectation, and then not worry too much about the past, which is rumination.
Yeah. So what do you think throughout this has been the hardest thing for you?
Well, the hardest thing is that psychedelics are illegal. Mushroom cultivation of psychedelic mushrooms is illegal. So that's the hardest part, is still being able to promote the wonders of psychedelics without getting in trouble. That's a very fine line, right? Though, these days, even Netflix has Fantastic Fungi, which I highly recommend anyone watch. It's a documentary about mushrooms. And oh my gosh, so beautifully, beautifully shot. Have you seen it, Stacey?
No, I haven't.
Oh, I highly recommend it. The cinematography is gorgeous. So it's just something, just such a treat to watch. And then on Hulu, there was I think it's called 9 Perfect Strangers. That was about psilocybin. And the cover of Newsweek a few months ago had a whole story about magic mushrooms. So I think it's becoming more and more mainstream, kind of like what cannabis was maybe 12, 12 years ago. And so people are starting to read about it more. People are more curious, but because it's still like an illegal substance, you can still get in trouble for it. I have a very fine line to walk.
I was wondering too, just in regards to just overall with you doing the thing, what do you think's been the hardest thing with you doing that?
The hardest thing is, not getting in the trap of fear and ego. I think I had this massive psychedelic experience just recently, and it was with a very powerful substance. And in that journey, I've never felt this before, Stacey. It's so easy to say, hashtag blessed and hashtag I'm grateful, right? But to actually really feel it in my heart, in my body, in my cells, like during my trip, my journey, I imagine, I don't know if it was, I say the word imagine, but I was in the cosmos, and I was in the swirling cosmos, and I was in the universe, and it was starry and beautiful and peaceful. In this journey, I felt all of a sudden the generations and generations and generations of women before me, my lineage, all their hardship and all of their pain and all of the things that they went through, all of them, all of it to create me. That, Stacey, is so humbling. And like that magic that I felt, and it was almost like a deep knowing. That was just the most profound experience that I've ever experienced. And so when you ask me what's the hardest thing, is that, is to kind of give in to fear, because all the generations of women who's been through hardship did not, I'm sure they would want to see me flourish and succeed. And for me to waste one day in fear and to stop doing something because I'm scared of it, or I got rejected, or what if I fail? That would be such a shame, because all these women had, sacrificed just to create, the being that is me.
Yeah, I think that's an unbelievable way to look at it.
Right.
Definitely. So, okay, let's just say you have one piece of advice to give to people on doing the thing. What would it be?
Well, I think it's to be curious, to hold a space of loving and curiosity. Stacey, I've gone through so much personal development. I was married to someone that used to work for Tony Robbins for like 7 years and traveled the world with Tony and led big events. And there was one thing that Tony Robbins used to always teach, and it was to create rapport. You want to match and mirror somebody, especially when you first meet someone. And you kind of learn this in interview settings as well. Like when you're in an in-person interview, you kind of want to match and mirror, the person interviewing you to develop instant rapport. So I became really good at it. And like when I meet someone new, like I would, match their energy and mirror their energy so we can start vibrating at the same wavelength. But here's the problem with that. When you match and mirror and try to create rapport with someone, you're matching and mirroring their energy, and you don't know where they've been. You don't know what energy they're projecting and carrying. And so recently I started playing with, I'm not going to match and mirror anymore. I'm going to hold steady in my safe space, in my very loving and curious space. And I'm going to hold steady and be so strong in that. I am who I am, right? Like I'm strong and I'm rooted. And instead of trying to be who I think you want me to be, you know what I mean? Does that make sense, Stacey?
Oh, yeah, it definitely does.
Yeah. So, my advice is to be, hold a space of loving and curiosity. I always try so hard not to be judgmental and just be like, okay, I'm loving and curious. And I wonder why, or I wonder why this person is saying these things, or I wonder why this point of view. And when you're curious about things, and you, instead of holding and casting judgment, you are in more of a learning and absorbing space. And, beautiful things happen from that space.
I think it's great that you went from, having that experience when you were married and having him work for Tony, and then you learning all that, and then you making the decision to actually try something new too and see how that feels.
Yeah. I think that, it's so, like I said before, it's so easy to say hashtag blessed, hashtag gratitude. But, I think that gratitude and purpose are actions. It's something that you do, and it's not a thing. So I'm going to say that again, like, especially gratitude. I think gratitude is a doing. That's why, how do I create magical moments every day? Or how can I, have simple pleasures deeply felt? Those are actions. And I express gratitude by doing and appreciating. And it's a verb, not a noun.
Mm. Yeah. And you have to practice at it too.
You have to practice at it. And it's, I always say body first, mind follows. So sometimes if you wait for your mind to change, if you wait for your mind to say, okay, it's time to go to the gym. Stacey, it's time to get in the car and go to the gym. If you wait for that moment, a lot of times it doesn't happen, right? That moment doesn't happen. And, move your body first. Don't even make a decision about it. Just move your body. And it's not a decision that your mind makes, but it's just something that your body does. For example, brushing your teeth in the morning or before you go to bed. It's just something you do. You don't make a decision about it. You just do it, right? Get your morning coffee. I have 1 cup of coffee in the morning. I don't even decide. I just do it. So sometimes in business, being scared of something or having fear of rejection or fear of, I don't know how to do this. Sometimes it just takes your body just going for it and your mind will catch up.
Mm. So do you think that's like a jumping in type of thing?
Yeah. It's kind of like, when you were a little kid, do you remember your first time riding a bike? Mm-hmm. You're just, grown up probably was holding on the back of your bike. You didn't, and just said, go, start pedaling, and then would let go. It's not like you were a little kid and read up on how to ride a bike. What degree do you put your foot in your pedal, and you don't read about it. You just go for it and you do it. Also, kind of same with swimming as well. There's some basic rules, but generally, move your body, get your body just to do it. Don't make it a decision. Your body starts getting comfortable, just like riding your bike. Pretty soon you're like, hey, this isn't so bad. This bike riding thing is kind of easy. And then your mind develops the confidence. And then your mind goes, okay, this is kind of fun. I think I can do this. So, that's why I say body first, mind follows, instead of trying to decide and depend on your mind to change first. And then your body moves afterwards. So it's kind of backwards.
Yeah. Yeah. It's almost like you're putting the training wheels on by doing it.
Exactly. Yeah. And, once you're in motion, things that are in motion, stay in motion, right? Mm-hmm. So it's about getting in motion first.
Yeah. Okay. So is there anything that I didn't ask you that you wish I did ask you?
Oh my goodness. I don't think so. I think a lot of people are curious about microdosing psychedelics to be happier, or, just to be more grounded, or people want to get off their antidepressants. And, all of that information, I have a website. It's jadenrae.com, JADENRAE.com. And on Instagram, I'm at both Steamy Kitchen, which is all my cooking stuff, and then Hey Jaden Rae, for anything that has to do with microdosing. And I would love to share the magical world of psychedelics.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. And I appreciate you sharing all your wisdom. I'm going to probably come up with my own. I might steal yours because the create a magical moment right now.
Oh, of course. I would love anyone. You know what I always say, Stacey, is to try things on, like a superhero cape. So sometimes you'll hear something like, wow, I would love to adopt that in my life. Try it on, just like a new pair of pants or, a superhero cape. Try it on, see how it fits. And if it doesn't fit, take it off. If it does fit, you can customize it and kind of make it your own. So I love that. I really, really love that.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Well, thank you so much. It was wonderful getting a chance to talk to you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Do the Thing podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show, but even more, we hope you'll be inspired to do the thing. Do you have a burning question on doing the thing that you'd like answered? How about an inspiring do the thing story of your own that you'd like to share? We'd love to hear all about it. Just leave us a voice message at dothething.callcast.co or email us at hello@dothethingpodcast.com.